basically, if you guys haven't heard, WWE just announced that it's going to end. This is very unexpected news. I'm not sure what it is, but we're gonna read this out together. Here is the tweet that was sent out by Sama. Let's read this. It's entitled SummerSlam. I'll leave it in the description too if you want to read it. Not long ago, Josie, who's the woman general manager, stepped down from her position due to a complex schedule and her being occupied with the real life situations. I do not blame her for anything. I get what she's dealing with because I'm going through the same. I'm heavily busy most of the times now because of school and appointments. Either that or I am out with friends, and I do not really want to ditch any of these things for Roblox. At first, it seemed alright. I wasn't fond of hosting. I wasn't fond of hosting since I can remember. Even in APRW, I always liked building or making GFXs. I never really liked hosting much. And when we Ted and I took over WWE, our plan was to only go until WrestleMania, but those plans changed mainly due to us getting a lot of positive feedback from that event. Everyone enjoyed that event, and we hit a record of Curious YouTube by being the most viewed Pro Wrestling Clean event. I'm thankful for that. I'm also thankful for a lot of superstars who were there from the transition of Luke's ownership to ours and Ted and I. And he basically goes on to thank Eddie Johnson, John Dallas, Ken, Kiri Kali, Desaro, Clutcha, Sean, Leroy, Jam, Rid, Mark, and yeah, a lot of stuff. And then on the bottom, he says, now if you're someone like Wide who's probably mad right now about to go, why am I not on the list? Read back at the topic of this list. We're talking about the present. We're not, we're talking, we're not talking about the past, Wide. All right. So now you're probably wondering why is this title called SummerSlam, and it is because SummerSlam will be WWE's final pay-per-view. There will be no shows leading up to SummerSlam anymore because me and Tedley simply just don't have the time to plan an advert through a whole week since our school is going to come up. Now, if you were in a feud, yes, this impacts your build, but you can always post something on Twitter or even have a back and forth with the person that you're fighting, just to rub your guy's match in the face. This is optional. If you do make the tweet, such as at Roblox WWE, I'll retweet it. Thank you, Triple S. So yeah, this is pretty breaking news. I'm not really sure. I understand that there's a lot of real life stuff that goes with this. So I'm really glad that Ted and Sama they're favoring their lives over hosting. Very good thing.
This is happening right now, and it's just a lot to take in
Mhm.
because I know what's about to happen. Roblox Wrestling Reborn is about to become the #1 Fed. We just did a fucking podcast with Caden. I mean, A's, I think. Do you think Caden has what it takes? Because
Okay,
he
well that's
has
a stretch.
he
They
has a
haven't even
chat
had their
full
first
of the
show.
truth.
They haven't even had their first show, and I've seen Caden host an APRW, and I understand there's a lot of limitations and constraints, but I'm not quite too sure if.
He has a chat full of staff team. I'm pretty sure someone else
Okay,
might
yeah,
be
okay, well,
hosting.
yeah, I'm sure he'll do great things, but I don't know if he's gonna be number one. For anything, I'd say by default, SEW is probably just gonna take the throne again, but with WWE being removed. Maybe honestly, if Caden is pulling consistent numbers, it doesn't even matter if he's that good or not. I think he probably could take it over. But then again, we're speaking when there hasn't even been, a single show of RWR. But all I can say on this is, I basically like this is there's so many federations that have just
I gotta make sure I don't spoil anything in this. I'm sorry. I'm just really fucking. I'm up there right now.
up there. What do you mean?
Like with all the, I just think all of this is just kind of crazy how it's happening now, and for some reason this didn't happen near when Josie left WWE. You know,
Hmm. Yeah, I it's just yeah, it's a lot. It honestly is a lot because not a. It's hard to believe that we're losing another major Fed. Like it's happening a little bit too fast. Like there's no federation that's like consistently going to be here. You know?
didn't APRW literally end earlier this year,
Yep.
or was it like late last year?
It was. I think it was last year, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check though.
When some very
Do you think
opponents.
anyone from WWE is actually going to be coming to RWR? Do you think like this could result in a lot of people who work there like transferring over? Because now that WWE's gone, there's a lot of talent too, not just like in ring, but also like behind the scenes.
Interesting. There's a very high possibility, and let me tell you, World Wrestling Reborn will not be the only federation getting profiting from this because SCW will definitely gain some more popularity from this.
Yeah, I don't want
Uh,
this to just be all about RWR, but like when we're gonna mention other federations, there's honestly a lot of federations that are gonna be able to pick up a lot of stars. I think right now is the prime time to get like if a federation is running out of talent, like I think right now is time to pick up that star because like this is big news. And what happens after SummerSlam? Think about that because like it's gonna be a little bit rough having to come up with yet another number one, and maybe we don't even need a number one. But losing WWE is gonna be a pretty big loss to the community, I think.
here's this question: what does Kiri Kali do? Does he stay in the community? Because I only think
Well, he did
WWE is the only
stream.
fed.
He
What?
he he was streaming. He streams Row Football, and I think he does actually stream other feds. It's just not as prominent as WWE. So maybe yeah, that's a question to ask Kiri.
Started when Josie left, and the Deadly and Science stuff. I don't think it was smart to bring Cyan back.
Mm. Yeah.
I feel like it hurt WWE a little bit because whenever he did leave, they were getting some comments about some of the rumors on why he left. And when they did reveal it, some people were like, "All right, yeah, but we're just gonna see what happens next." Um, I do. This is interesting because I think this WWE was really the final major federation, and now I just think
The
indies
final?
don't
That's
what's
a
left.
stretch. That's a stretch.
I know, but
If they were here through the
what
end
else
of
is left?
2022 or something, I'd say maybe, but like wrestling isn't dying anytime soon. Someone else will take the I just don't know who. If you mean like the final major, like feeling major, I agree with that because SEW doesn't feel major. What else? Who is vouching for number one?
Well,
None of the RWA
Caden
feds
is
feel number
that's
one,
set
you
on
know?
one.
hmm
What?
Yeah, I was just gonna say none of the RWA feds feel like they're number one. Like they don't feel like they're number one, but they could be number one, is what I mean. And like what you said with Caden is like it feels number one right now, but like when the shows start coming, you don't know, man. You can't. It's not always a guarantee that because we gotta wait until we see a show. So I'm not gonna put my finger down on that one yet. But like I'm looking at the RWA right now. What is it? Like there's SCW,
Does this
XRW,
does
and
this mean
XWE.
does this mean the end of RWA?
Well, I definitely say it's gonna have to be reformed a bit because there's gonna be three federations after the RWA. After like for the RWA after WWE leaves, and three federations is kind of a tough thing to do. So we can also think about what other federations are going to be joining the RWA, because that puts a big constraint on it.
Well, let me tell you this. I don't know who's gonna run the RWA because it kind of sounds like the entire WWE management team are leaving. But um, I doubt they would even allow Reborn to come in. They haven't done a show, so I would say maybe in maybe 4 months. I would say you could expect some rumors to come out, but trust me, I'm not sure. And also, I feel like it's safe to mention, and I should have said this during the podcast. I'm not gonna spoil anything from RWR on the Steiner section. That'd be kind of fucked up.
Yeah. One thing I do wonder is the federation being added. Like what federation? Because there's three people in the RWA. And I don't think that there's any other federation that feels like they could fit in, because Defiant is still like going through stuff. Like XWE maybe they're
I don't think. I'm sorry to.
PCW. PCW just I don't know. They're I don't I if PCW is the last resort in my opinion.
Do you think PCW could be on its way to the RWA
Well, they
potentially?
just they just hit good numbers. That's really it. You know? That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know. I really cannot think of any other Fed other than
I
like
will say one thing. I will say one thing about Caden. I've never seen him this motivated before about something. Like not even when he was put in charge of UDW whenever Origin CA was done with it.
because they were never his Feds. We've never seen what Caden can do, like, when he hosts his own Fed at this point in time. Yeah. I don't want to give Caden too much though, because, you know, it, he just simply hasn't had, yeah, I mean, he just hasn't had a show. That's all I can say. I mean, man, we lost so many big Feds, like ORW left, APRW left, RCW left, what else?
Did ORW
WWL.
even leave a statement?
I don't think so. They had the whole debacle with their world championship match, and then I think SDR did post something.
Me and Ash, we just finished recording this, and then we were just talking, and Mister Unstable Ken put out a tweet saying, "If I were to help Sam and Teddy run WWE and make things less stressful for them, so they do not end their federation, would you still attend?" This is kind of honestly, I wouldn't say surprising because Unstable Ken has been a big part of Sama and Teddy's careers and stuff. So, how do you feel about it, Ash?
This is I don't know, man. I never thought I'd see. I mean, Unstable Ken is young. He's young. I think he still has some time in him. I still feel like he wanted to be in the community because he didn't. When he retired, he didn't fully retire. He just ended APRW. But man, this is I could see it definitely staying, but the thing is, Ken's gotta like really, really pick up some slack because it's gonna be a three-man team if it's gonna be, like 66, 66, 66, so everyone can like be combined. But I don't know how that's gonna affect WWE. I feel like something is going to change, but I'll still be down for it, but things are not gonna be the same.
Yeah, we're pretty much at a loss for words right now. This is just a bit overwhelming, and Ash is currently contemplating on whether or not to come out of retirement.